Hello and welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. Today we have Hannah Berner from BravoTV's Summer House. I'm very excited. Hannah is a new Bravolebrity. She's on Summer House, a show that documents a bunch of people working their butts off in New York and drinking their faces off in the Hamptons. I love it. You're going to love it. She also does stand-up. We figure out what it was like going to the first BravoCon. We hear a lot of the behind the scenes of making a reality television show, all the juicy details that I'm fascinated in, like how many times the sound guy heard her take a shit. It's very, very interesting content. Enjoy this episode of Not Too Deep with Hannah Berner.
Not too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Hannah, this is very exciting. I just watched the newest episode this morning. I love Summer House.
You do?
I do. It's just like bougie frat parties every weekend because I lived in New York and I've never experienced that world of going out to the Hamptons on the weekends.
You're like, I feel like I'd hate those people, and then you watch it to confirm you would hate those people.
Yeah, a little bit. But also, like, it seems fun, and as someone that was in the city and got very panicky and anxiety ridden about how claustrophobic it is, like, I get the idea of like wanting to get out on the weekends and go to a place that has space.
You'll go nuts if you're just in the concrete jungle all the time. There's something about the air the second you get out there. But I think New Yorkers are such extremists. Like, we work our asses off during the week. Yeah. And then it's like you party so hard. And it's like, we need a little LA in us where it's like, do we have plans? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, the most LA shit happened to me in, I was in an elevator and I was talking to my friend. There was like 7 of us. And a minute goes by and we don't move. And someone's like, did anyone hit lobby? Yeah. And I'm like, is everyone high? Yeah. I mean, chill? Yeah. In New York, people would have like been like, why the fuck isn't this thing moving?
Oh, someone would have stomped on the elevator floor until it moved down to the lobby. Like, people don't give a shit in New York.
No, yeah, people will bust your balls for anything. But here we all just kind of giggled and I was like, see, that was a nice exchange.
Yeah, this didn't ruin anyone's day.
You didn't have to attack my character during it.
I wasn't torn down for making a mistake. Okay, let's talk Summer House. How do you explain this show to someone like an alien that has no idea this fabulous Bravo reality programming?
Well, I've loved Bravo from the beginning. I think Bravo's incredible at creating reality shows.
They are. I think they're great.
This show in particular is about that New York lifestyle of having a job in the city, but when it's summertime, you try to escape and go out to Long Island, which is like this island that comes out of Manhattan and Queens. Yeah. And you get a share house because it's so expensive to be out there. So you get a bunch of your friends and you rent a house. Right. And you fuck and you fight and you do whatever you want on the weekends, basically.
You get it all out on the weekends.
Sexually, like, emotionally.
Right. It's a very sexy fight club on the weekends. And then everyone goes back to New York and they take it all out at their desks.
I was joking with Paige, who's like my closest friend on the show. Yeah. That it's become just like a drunk psych ward on the weekends where like we take all our shit from the week and then take it out on each other.
Yeah, it does feel like that. So you came in, this show had already existed and you came in last season of the show.
So it had 2 seasons and I came in on 3.
Okay. And so did you know all of the, for lack of a better word, cast members, because that's what you guys are, before you got onto the show?
Great question. So I feel like our show is not, it has hidden cameras and stuff, but it's not like Real World where let's put a bunch of people and see how they work. It's about watching a friend group, and that's really the best drama when people like really care about each other and there's stuff on the line. So they were doing a big recasting after the 2nd season. Yeah. And they were looking for people who were like, what's the word? Like, not like really close, but like people knew of me.
Like people that were on the fringe.
Sorry, that was a really hard word for me. Peripheral. I was like, oh.
You're like on the fringe of the friendship group. Okay.
So I was actually doing media working for Betches. I was like producing videos, writing memes for them. And I was interviewing some reality TV people, and I interviewed Summer House, and I was like shitting on them for being on reality TV. And we're in the city, so because we do media stuff, we'd see other Bravo people. And I guess they were recasting, and my name was thrown out there. Like, Hannah's outgoing and single.
She's desperate, and she'll
make bad decisions.
Yeah, she's horny, and she knows how to be on camera. So let's get her.
She doesn't think before she speaks or has sex with people. Or sticks her tongue in people's mouths. But I remember in casting, I was like, look, I'm actually not that great at drinking. I don't really want to be your hot mess.
Right.
Like I was very scared of like the Jersey Shore-esqueness.
But even like that's what's fascinating to me is that like I've grown up to watching Real World, Road Rules, Jersey Shore, all these shows that you start when you're like a perceptive person to understand the dynamics of how reality TV works. You understand the producing elements of it, and you start to meet the people that do it. So you understand like the characterizing of different types of people.
Yeah.
So, but you have all this in your like wheelhouse before going in. So you
those shows walked so we could run.
Right. Yeah. But it must feel like you have the tool set to understand like how they could portray you.
Yeah, and I also was coming from video production. Like I was writing little comedy videos. And so it was also like my biggest thing that hurts me in life is perfectionism, which I'm like gotten really good at because I've been conscious of it.
Right.
As in like, I mean, you know, when you're creating content, you have to just put shit out there.
Yeah, you could be editing.
Oh my God, especially with yourself. You're like, oh, why does that laugh sound like that? Is that human? So you just have to kind of let stuff go. But I basically was like, look, if you want to show that women could be like funny and like strong and athletic, and let me open up about like my anxieties or depression, or I think ultimately they just want people who will make mistakes. And I'll make mistakes, but I just don't want to be like the hot drunk girl. Right. And then everyone now is like, oh my God, you're like the relatable one. And I'm like, do you guys think I'm ugly? Is that what's happening? I'm like, I just want to be the hot one. People are like, oh, you're so funny on the show. I'm like, but am I hot? But I do think so many people go on TV to be like super aspirational. Like I'm on television. And it's like, you have to be self-aware. People are laughing at you a lot of the time. Yeah. Or relating to you. Right. And I wanted to show that like, I could be a mess and there were things that I struggled with, and like people can go on that journey with me. And I think that was what kind of it helped me find myself. Like I really matured from the show. Yeah.
What was it like? Because you're going and you've seen the show before, I assume, right?
I wasn't like a watcher of it, to be honest. But then once I was in casting, I needed to do my research. Sure. And I'd known of the show.
So you do some research, you go on, you have your experience. Yeah. And in your mind, you have your experience. But then it's left to these editors that now, you know, craft your experience for you. And so what's watching that first season that you're on like?
What's crazy is people are always like, is it real? Is it real? And I think it's in editing that they just tell the story. Yeah. So if you're at a party, like they could have shown like, you know, someone being jealous of me because I'm talking to someone and I'm sad about an ex. But also on the other side of the room, like Paige is flirting with Carl. And Carl. So you don't know what they're ultimately going to use about. Right. So that's why the show's so... I love like mind games. And I really think it's like a fucked up game of drunk chess.
It is.
With hot people.
Well, that's why I watch all these shows, because it really is like you put a bunch of drunk pinballs in a pinball machine and you watch them just like bounce off each other.
Personality disorders.
Right. And it's fascinating.
And the camera glorifies all those things. But my biggest issue was that I hate confrontation more than anyone. And that's why I thought I might be bad for the show. Yeah. But it actually like made me good because that was such an issue for me. And you see, like I was so scared to confront some people in certain scenes in the third season. Like I'd be whispering like, I didn't like how you spoke to me. And in this, unlike other shows where Vanderpump, you could like blow up on someone, be like, fuck you and go to your apartment. Yeah. I'm stuck in a house with them for 3 days. So you can't be like, fuck you and walk out. Right. You just walk into their room.
Right. Yeah.
So it put me in social situations I'd never have to be in real life. Like I would never confront some people. I would just talk shit about them to my friends like a normal human being and just never talk to them again. And then that's what you do when you don't like someone. But this, like, I mean, I think Lindsay actually taught me a lot, because Lindsay's one of those people that gets stronger with you with confrontation. Yeah. Because she has like kind of trust issues, which makes sense. But for her to like you, you have to go through shit with her.
Yeah, it seems like she's got a little bit of it. You have to prove yourself.
Yeah, and at first I was like, why are we fighting? Can we not? This isn't good. And then I realized she respected me more when I'd be like, no. So I become a monster from the show.
That's good. That's how friendships form.
You're forced to deal with situations that you would never do. So it forces you to mature. Yeah. And I think I've really grown from the show, which sounds so corny, but I have.
But if that's the case, that's the case. I also think it's fascinating because it is one of those shows, like now I'm obsessed with like The Circle and, you know, Love is Blind and all these shows that have they've taken out the producers and camera people in the room with you so much. Like they have the cameras in the walls, so you're really getting more, I think, candid moments than you would get.
1,000%.
And you guys have a mix. It seems like you have people following you around with the camera, obviously, but then you have all of like the GoPros, I assume, like in every corner of the house.
At night, like the cameramen leave, they have to sleep.
Right.
And you sense like a kind of wildness that happens, and we're also hammered.
Yeah, you guys do some weird tribal dance like at the end of every night. I'm like, this is, I think, more of a cult house than a summer house, because at the end of every night,
we
there's
sacrifice
just like,
someone.
Yeah, there's just always
whoever Carl's dating at the time, we sacrifice.
It's always this like 4-screen montage of groups of you throughout different areas of the house doing some sort of circular, like spinning dance in a circle, or one's dragging one of you into a circle. It's a little sacrificial looking. And I feel like, yeah, you can tell the cameramen have gone to bed.
You're like, the person you set on fire on a stake outside also gives it away.
Yeah, but they don't spend much time with it. They just put it in the montage and keep going.
They're like, is that girl okay? And we're like, the last one was worse. Believe me. I'm so happy you like the show, though.
Oh, it's so fun. I also feel like that there's a sense that you and Paige like have a sense of, you know, how the show works. So you're not coming in, you're coming in not jaded, but you're coming in kind of like more in control a little bit, as much as you can be for whatever it's worth on a show like that, because everyone else is puppeteering everything, you know?
Yeah.
But it feels like you guys know what you represent on the show, and you don't get into as messy of situations because you're like more, I think, aware of that.
It's like, for me, it's an adventure, and it's just like a fun experience that challenges me. And I do try to, honestly, I try to be my funny, silly self. And I think for my first season, you didn't see it that much. Like people, I don't shut the fuck up. But like in a dinner, like what I was saying, making fun of the sushi was not important to the storyline.
Yeah.
But I think there's some cast members that have gotten mad being like, Hannah, why are you being so silly? Like, you have to be serious. Not to give it away with my voice that I just did. But it's like, that is, A, that's me. But B, like, let's say Kyle's selling Loverboy, like I'm kind of promoting my personality on the show. Like that's kind of my brand.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. Like I'm either on or I'm off. And during those 3 days, you got to show up and be on.
Yeah.
And, but I do also find like you have to get involved in the mess sometimes. It's just, you have to stay authentic to how you would react to it, not what you think America wants.
Right.
Because America is very smart and can sense an authenticity.
Yeah.
Like the camera magnifies it.
Yeah.
And I found it's better just to do you and then own your shit if you fuck up than try to like walk on eggshells and make everyone be happy, which I think is life in general.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what did you notice as feedback after the first season? Like, were you overwhelmed with how like well people were receiving you? Were you kind of like nervous about that it was all on display?
The only thing that pissed me off.
Were you pissed off about?
That pissed me off. I'm like, well, I was fuming. I wanted to talk about my tennis because my whole life I was like the tennis player.
Right, yeah.
And I wanted to show like, while people were looking up to me as this like aspirational tennis player, I was dealing with so much performance anxiety, depression. I feel like so many athletes don't get to stop and think about their mental health.
Yeah.
And I got so many great messages that were like, I was a soccer player and that happened to me. It was
cool.
It was nice like that. But Bravo, they had me do one interview that was like, say what happened in your tennis career.
Right.
And then they had a couple photos of me. And then each episode, to remind everyone, they would replay me talking about it and the like mini montage, like 30 for 30 my tennis. And people on Twitter started to like have enough. They were like, if this girl talks about tennis one more time. And then I started getting messages like, do you play tennis? Oh, do you play tennis? And it became this like thing that I was so like, this is not what I meant from all this.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not.
And then whenever I hit, the people would be like, oh, Hannah playing tennis again. And then part of me was like, if I was a dude who used to play professional basketball, would people be like, oh, Steve talking about basketball again? What a loser. Right. So that was my most annoying part of it.
But that's good. I mean, if people are going to get upset at you for something or annoyed by you for something, for you going out and doing like health related things, I think is a pretty safe thing for them to be upset about.
I realize I'm actually pretty good with dealing with hate online because I always say like, if people aren't hating on you, not enough people even like know who you are.
Care,
it's part of what happens when people know what you're doing in your life. And also like what kind of people are on Twitter like trying to make strangers feel bad? Like your own friends don't do that stuff. And you only really care what your friends think.
Right.
And strangers. But anyway, I'm like, just kidding. I'm really upset about it. But I do think people were overall, I wasn't involved in as much drama last season, and people were just like, we love Hannah and Paige. We love Hannah's personality. It was great. This season I came in hotter, and that's when you get the, Hannah's so annoying. Hannah's so immature.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like whenever a girl is like a little goofy or a little bit too loud, she becomes
confident.
She becomes annoying.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate that word because men are never called annoying.
Mm-hmm.
When men are so fucking annoying.
Very fair.
I'm just saying we're equal amounts annoying. I think sometimes people, it's a like masculine quality to be like the funny one or be the outgoing one or wanting to be a leader.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with these like, especially like older dudes, so it can be clashing. But I'm never gonna shut up. So
well, good for you.
Thank you.
It's also one of those things too when you the idea of reality television, I think, prompts everyone to seek someone to be annoyed by or to hate. And so everyone has their like, you know, heat sensors on waiting to find some flaw in you that they can be like, finally, I can hate her. Great. I've been looking.
Also, yeah, you're so right. If you think about the flaw, it's always shit they're projecting on you from their own experience.
It's
like,
only insecurity.
I definitely remind you of like your cousin that slept with your boyfriend. Don't take it out on me because like my voice sounds like her.
Right. Or I'm not confident enough to go for a hot guy and you're going for it. And so I now hate you because you're representing the things that I've never done.
There has been a little bit. So on this season, there's this like hot model dude.
Luke, we've heard he makes his own jewelry. What can he do?
He coaches little kids in hockey.
I think Luke, God bless him, he's probably very nice and genuine and Midwest good, but is a lot on a lot. I'm like,
well, that's like I was just in a podcast and they were like, how are you not married to Luke? And I was like, okay, there's so many issues with that question. First of all, good looking guys are so crazy in the head. I mean, you live in LA, you must understand. Society teaches us like Disney that princes are like the ones you need to go for. They are the narcissist, insecure ones, the fucked up ones. They'll put you in therapy. Yeah. And like I've dated the I think hot men sometimes gravitate towards me because they could tell. It's like when you don't like cats and they keep coming up to you. I'm like, I want an ugly hot dude. and Armand was like this cool dude who I normally go for Luke types. And I was connecting with this guy emotionally. And I was like, Hannah, this is an epiphany. This is what you need for a happy relationship. But Luke, he's so good looking, I couldn't help it. Yeah. But I also think that with women, you have to understand that those looks fade. And it's about, obviously, what really matters, which is how big his dick is. Yeah. No, Melissa's
just nodding.
Didn't even react to that. She was like, preach.
Yes. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I have a billion more questions. We'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Today we have some sponsorship from Sports Research. It's your one-stop shop for a lifetime of performance, health, and wellness. They're the makers of the highest-rated collagen peptide product on Amazon and their flagship product, Sweet Sweat. Sweating helps burn calories, and Sweet Sweat, activated by your elevated heart rate, helps increase sweating during exercise. You simply apply the gel, which comes in a variety of pleasing scents, to slow to respond problem areas before you work out. For best results, use Sweet Sweat in combination with Sports Research's best-selling waist trimmers, if that's something that you're into. And did you know that collagen is vital to support the health of your skin, hair, nails, and connective tissues? That's why you should try Sports Research's third-party certified and non-GMO verified collagen peptides, which provide the best product at the best price. Offered in a variety of flavors, Sports Research collagen peptides can be added to coffee, to soup, to sauces, or more on the go or at home. home, whatever you prefer. And they've sent me some of their stuff. I tried their Sweet Sweat. One, the coconut smells amazing. I've put it on my person before I've worked out, and it does actually help increase sweating. Elliot actually uses it every day when he works out, and he looks like a glistening god. So if you're interested, I recommend. We have a special offer for you guys. If you go to sportsresearch.com and use offer code GRACE, GRACE at checkout right now, you'll get 20% off your order. That's 20% off site-wide at sportsresearch.com with the promo code GRACE at checkout. Okay, let's get back into it. So this season, this episode will come out, I believe, in the season will still be going on. Any hints, any things you can tease at?
I think this season you see people fight that you never thought would fight. Like it shows in the trailer. Me and Paige have like a huge. Me and Paige were like, if we're going to have a fight, it needs to be the most epic, like burn the house down fight.
Did you pre-plan a fight?
Oh God, no, you can't.
Okay. I was like, this is a new level.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this is what we decided. It was the kind of thing where I was like, we would never fight, but if we did, it would have to be
There'd be a very deep
I'd have
reason.
to sleep with your fucking boyfriend and
like real
and
stakes.
Have his children. And then raise them. Anyway, so when we fight, we both like didn't expect it, and it was a very
so it's real.
It was
very
the
real.
most and I think with a lot of people that's what they ask, is it real? And it's like, it is real, but it's also like, you know, when it's almost Inception, like there's a new reality in what it is.
Yeah.
Like even our conversation right now, like we're kind of performing, but there still is like, we're still dealing with each other.
Yeah, you guys are existing in the world that you all are on the conscious level knowing that you are.
You nailed it. It's hard to explain, but you nailed it.
That's why I'm fascinated, because I watch every reality TV. I love Married at First Sight too. I don't know if you've seen that show, but I was just a little stoned with my boyfriend watching it, and I was like, this isn't a high thought, this is a genuine thought. I'm more curious to be like a PA on that set, because I want to see when cameras go down how they talk to each other differently than when the cameras are rolling, because you know, you have your on-camera persona. I mean, and then you guys have, you know, the liquor that surges through that brings the veil off a little bit more. But I'm sure that, you know, the real fights that happen are ones because you forget that you're existing in this world.
Yeah, and it's also that it's impossible to keep that like on-camera persona.
Yeah.
I think when I first started it, I lasted like 2 days, and then I was like, this is exhausting.
It's easier to just be myself.
Yeah, you just have to be. I was literally trying to like nail every line I said, and they were like, you're annoying.
Stop looking down the lens of the camera.
I would like look at the producers, see if they laughed at me, and they'd be like, can you stop doing that? And also, I always thought, I was like, I have to, maybe because I have my own issues with tennis, like, now we're getting deep. When I would perform well, I'd get like positive affirmation. When so like I was like,
that's what you're seeking.
Yeah. So I'm like, if I make people laugh, people will like me. But then it's so weird how people will like you almost more when you're just being like boring.
When you're authentic.
And being authentic, which is so fucking boring. But that's when people connect.
Yeah.
But I guess there's two sides. Like people can laugh at me, but I think they more enjoy how you make them feel when they feel connected to you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you falling down drunk at like the 4th of July party that's shown for like 3 seconds. I'm like, I love this moment. This is perfect.
I told my friend I could hold her for the keg stand. I'm like, I'm really strong. And then she just falls. And I'm like, oh God. And Luke is like shaking his head, and I'm like, hey.
It blows my mind. What's it like now being a Bravolebrity? Is that how you say it? Bravolebrity?
Yeah, it's wild because I'm like you.
Yeah.
Like I love Bravo. Millionaire Matchmaker was my favorite.
Yeah.
When I was going through a depression, Vanderpump Rules got me out of it. Like, you know, like after work, you go home and you're just like, I need to lose myself in someone else's life.
Yeah.
It was just incredible.
These are my friends now.
Yeah, I'm invested forever.
Yeah, exactly.
We are family. And I think I didn't expect to. Also, I'm not someone, I didn't apply to any reality shows, never like applied for The Bachelor. I didn't see that for myself. And it just kind of happened. And now I like, but I think, I hate to do this to you, but I am inspired by you. Like, not to make you feel awkward, but thanks. I remember like growing up on the subway, I saw your advertisement.
Oh, yeah.
On the subway.
That's so weird.
For YouTube. And I was like, that's a badass bitch who's just creating content. She's not waiting for people. And I see my Bravo as just like a journey. Like I like being a Bravolebrity and making friends with other Bravolebrities, but I also see it as just a launching pad to give me exposure to create more of my own content.
Well, I mean, one, it's working, and two, like kudos to you because you can tell it's the kind of person you are. I mean, like you reached out to me last year and like you're hustling and being and I was like, I admire this like energy around all of this because that's what you do have to do.
Thank you, and I appreciate your collaborative energy to be like, join the club.
Get in here. I have some questions.
Get off the bench. It's your time.
But it's also, I think it's good too that you're like, you're leaning into it. Maybe that's not the right way. Like you're like saying yes to this is a world that you do exist in, not trying to like shy away from it. Cause I can imagine that doing the reality TV thing and then also trying to do like stand up and legit comedy that people probably try like shit on you a little bit from coming from that world.
Especially New York. It's tough.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I dated a stand-up comedian before I got into comedy.
So you had that like legitimacy a little bit.
I kind of knew the world. Like I knew a lot of the comedians. And then at Betches, I started like hiring these just like talented comedians with no following to like be on these Betches videos. Yeah. So I started making like real friends. And I realized now I was falling in love with comedy, not necessarily the guy. But I fell in love with it. And I finally was like, we broke up and I was like, if you're going to do stand-up, you have to make sure you want to do this because this is like his world. And it would be like, it's a small, tight-knit community in the city and in LA. Yeah. And finally, I started my podcast and I did a live show and my friend was like, do 10 minutes of comedy. Because I mean, tweeting is like tons of jokes. I had so much material. And with tweets, you either like make it like the button of the joke, the punchline, or just a bigger concept. Like I had all this stuff and I was like, fine. And I do 10 minutes of comedy and everyone after was like, that was the best part.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. I literally you know when you suppress something so low? It's probably, like I needed to like out myself. As the hardest part of being a stand-up is saying that you want to be a stand-up.
Right, because you already have the innate crush your dreams, hate yourself, self-sabotage in you, which is what stand-ups have.
Yeah, you get me.
So it's, so to admit that feels narcissistic in a way, to be like, I want to do something. Like stand-up scares the shit out of me.
Well, the idea of being like, people want to listen to you talk for an hour at them. It's like just a really long voicemail.
Here's my voice message.
And you know, after like 30 seconds, you're like, this is boring. No one likes this. But I do think in the comedy community, I had a couple people be like, okay, if you want to do this, people are going to put you on their shows just because you have a following. And if you don't do well, everyone's going to know and they're going to talk shit that people just put you on because you're following. If you want to do this, you have to like bomb in bars and small open mics and that kind of stuff. If you want to do it, let's do it. And I have some people in the community who kind of took me under their wing. That's cool. Again, collaborative. And I feel like that's why I've had so many people reach out like how to get involved. And I'm like, we need more women, obviously, in stand-up. And I think one of the biggest reasons why now I realize women are in stand-up is the lifestyle so not conducive for a woman. Like right now I'm not getting the best spots in New York. So I'll have like a midnight show in Brooklyn. And I can't say no to it, but do I, as a single girl, want to go all the way to a random bar in Brooklyn just full of random men? And then like show and have people laugh at me and then leave? Like it's a tough lifestyle alone. It's scary. The actual practical sense side of like trying to hustle is difficult. So but I've been putting in that grind. I think that's what has given me the confidence. And you have to put respect to the art that you're doing, but also they're respecting that the art is changing. Like these same comics are the ones who were like, can you help me, put together a video clip of my set? Or, I should tweet more. You're right. Like comics starting to post their tweets and stuff. So we're both realizing like we need each other. There's a mutual crossing over that's happening. Well, that's great. I do think there's still that like old, like white man perspective that's like comedy is just like a dude saying like racist, sexist jokes on stage, and like they will die out soon. And it's cool seeing comedy evolve in so many ways. Like you understand. Oh, totally. It must be fascinating too, the kind of audiences that are coming to your shows, because there does feel like a difference between like people that go to comedy shows and know like what it is, and then reality TV fans that come and enjoy you as you. That's another thing. So I'm like, well, this is all the shit talking that happens. But some comics will be like, as in like your crowd isn't a comedy crowd.
Right.
But,
It's
like,
just a
there's
bunch of
that
Ramona
idea.
singers drinking white wine, having a great night.
But what was amazing is I played Dynasty Typewriter last night.
Oh, yeah.
And Pete Lee messaged me, who is an incredible, one of my favorite comics. And he was just like, hey, can I do a guest spot? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so honored. Yes, 100%. And he finished and he looked at me and he goes, great crowd. And I was like, fuck yeah. I love my people. He's a real comic. And because also people who like me don't just like me for Summer House. And I think for women, men, trying to be successful is I'm trying to have a variety of different like streams of income coming in where like Summer House ends tomorrow, which it could. Instagram goes down tomorrow.
Right.
You have different opportunities for yourself.
The best way to think about it is just keep all the pots on the stove going. See what happens.
I'm a terrible cook, but I'm trying. Don't burn the water.
Have you had a memorable fangirl moment from meeting any of the other Bravo reality stars?
Great question.
Because we had Nene Leakes on a few months ago, and I still can't believe it happened. And just her walking in was just like, oh my God, we don't have to record. You can just sit and look wonderful.
Was it a fun conversation?
It was great. She was just like very exactly what I imagined her to be.
That's why like when you interview actors, you're like, wait, you're not even British? Like,
Or you're British?
Yeah, exactly. But reality TV people, I feel like they're pretty the same.
Yeah.
BravoCon.
Oh, yeah. What's that like? I've never been. I'm fascinated by it.
It was one time. I highly recommend you go.
Okay.
It's wild. They did a great job.
Massive convention.
Massive convention.
Around the Bravo
and
franchise.
all the top Bravolebrities are just like roaming around. It's like going to like Africa and seeing just like a gorgeous, it's a safari. So I get there. They had, our first thing was like a late night thing because Summer House isn't like the most respected show yet.
Right. I feel like you guys in Below Deck, they sort of like keep on hand as the housewives like are in the forefront.
Do their thing. Vanderpump is like always amazing. And I feel like Summer House is getting there.
Yeah.
And this last season is so epic.
Oh, cool.
Just letting you know.
Yeah.
So no. But I walk in, I'm like, oh, I wonder I might see someone. And just Lisa Vanderpump holding Jiggy.
What?
And Ken just standing there, the first people. And I turned to some of those people, I'm like, it's Lisa. And they're like, we can see, we're here, we can see. And she's just as glamorous as ever. Jiggy is as adorable as you think.
Oh my God.
Did not have the balls to speak to her.
I would be too scared.
I was too scared. I also I was with Paige and we saw Reza.
Oh yeah,
Shaws of Sunset, which I think is an amazing show.
Uh-huh.
And I was, again, you're kind of scared because you've seen these people. Like, imagine if everyone has seen you in your weirdest moments.
Oh, in the most vulnerable. Yeah, exactly. But you feel like you're friends with them and you know everything about them, but you're embarrassed to admit that you know everything about them. But they know that that's why they exist on TV is so that you know everything about them.
But also, you're not seeing them like doing well at brunch, feeling good. Like you're seeing them like mental breakdown Hannah. Yeah. It's a very different Hannah, like or like hammered blackout Hannah.
Yeah.
So we see Reza at this news thing. We were doing press, and we kind of make eye contact. He walks by us, and we once on Summer House, people went out one night, and we were literally watching Shaws of Sunset on our bed while we're getting filmed by the camera, watching Bravo. It was so meta and amazing.
Wow.
So we see him, we're like, oh my God, and then we like walk by him again, and we're like, oh my God, we love him. And we're in our green room, and we get a knock on the door, and it's Reza, and he goes, I just want you guys to know, Summer House is so good this season. And we're like, we love you. And we're like hugging him and stuff. Because like, I'm from New York. Like, I don't care to make anyone comfortable. Like, I don't have to say that I said something to him.
Yeah.
But the fact he was so nice. And then it makes me be like, I can't wait for like a new show to come on.
So you can have that moment
and
with
have that moment to be like, dude, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be a dick.
Yeah. I like the reality people that have the awareness and like a little bit of the self-deprecation of knowing like what they are on TV, and that, I don't know, there's something very likable about that.
I had a heart-to-heart with Sheena recently.
Oh yeah.
Because Sheena was like having a rough time at the beginning of the season. Like some dude said she was a bad kisser, and then she was really getting this like mean girl edit.
Yeah.
And I was like getting to know her, and she went on my podcast, and I was like, dude, you look like a bitch. Like, you're not that, you look really mean. And she was just kind of complaining about like, it's not cool that, you know, Dana gets her comedy show first episode and Sheena, they don't show any of her stuff. And she's just like, I hate that they just show him boy crazy all the time, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, everyone's boy crazy. Like, do you realize how relatable you are?
Yeah.
And I was like, you have to embrace that. And she's now like creating this like boy crazy brand.
Wow.
And she's starting to be like self-aware. Like, you can't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Like, you have to realize that you are people's background entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah.
While they're living their life.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't take yourself too seriously.
Right. You have to monetize it.
Yeah, you have to put it on beanies.
Yeah, that's why the housewives make original music when none of them in their lives should ever make original music.
I mean, Good as Gold is iconic.
It's great.
Sorry for yelling. I was very passionate about that.
No, it's fantastic. Have you guys, I mean, there is Loverboy, I feel like, is the most tangible, like, product offshoot of the show. Are there any others?
I really think the show has, hopefully this season, my podcast Berning in Hell.
Yeah.
You saw me think of it as an idea last season, do a little promo in this like red devil outfit.
Yeah.
It's like where I talk to people about their demons. And it's like a dark comedy. And this season, you get to see me. Like, I was interviewing Drake Bell, which was wild
and strange,
but so random. His like publicist reached out, and I was like, "He's my childhood." So I'd like to ruin my childhood. Yes, bring him in. I'd like to meet him. No, he was great. But you get to see that. Because we don't have a tangible thing. I think Paige has been done a bunch of like fashion stuff, and it's hard.
Yeah. Well,
it's
okay.
difficult.
In the realm of tangible things, I started to read stuff about like you talking to why there's so many packages delivered to the house every week. And I was like, that is a good question. Why are there so many freaking packages?
Yeah, they were like legit questions. The thing is, these shows, we actually are, the worst part about Summer House is we are so responsible for things.
Yeah.
Like, we're responsible to like kind of pick what the party's going to be, order any stuff we want for the party.
That's kind of refreshing to hear that it isn't.
They basically will be like, this is a summer house.
Yeah. You guys are actually, it's a real
We have
summer
to
house.
the worst part is we have to like prepare the parties. Like, we decorate the parties.
Yeah.
And then we have to clean up the fucking party.
So you guys are actually hosting a summer house.
And like, and it's like, I didn't sign up for this shit. And they're like, you did. You did. So the Amazon stuff is like, there'll be alcohol. Some people do get like their own packages shipped there. We always have outfits that we need to get. So we'll get it shipped there to make sure it's there. And we always have stuff.
That makes sense, because it does seem like without it being mentioned, it just kind of is always there, and it's presented like
and
everyone
you don't see
knows.
Us open it. We also get fresh direct. Okay. Amanda orders it one weekend. Like, she accidentally ordered it late, and we didn't get it sent. We literally ate like turkey and Jello shots the whole time. So like, we need that food. That's when people are like, what is that? I'm like, it's actually like way realer than you thought.
Yeah, this is like our supplies for the weekend.
100% is what we need.
Okay, we're gonna take one last break. When we get back, we have a bunch of Twitter questions for you. So we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Hey guys, we're taking a break from the podcast real quick to do some promotion of ourselves. That's right. Yes, we are promoting ourselves. Little reminder to you guys out there that if you go into the Apple Podcasts and you rate and review Not Too Deep, it's a beautiful, wonderful, helpful thing for us and for you guys. It helps people find our podcast. It helps us hear what you guys like, what you don't like, etc. And we just appreciate you taking the time. Again, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating, a review, whatever you want. Okay, we're back, and we're going to get into these Twitter questions. Before we do, I'm going to ask you the two questions I ask every single guest that is on the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Oh my gosh. They always ask who you love the most, and now I'm like, who do I hate?
It's your choice.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, cold spaghetti is actually pretty good. It really enhances the flavor.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. It could be someone you look up to.
Oh, this is wild. I would like to throw cold spaghetti at, I want to fuck with Chelsea Handler.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is like my inspiration. I actually taught tennis to her once.
Whoa.
I've read all her books, and I literally don't read books.
Yeah.
And she, I feel like she gave me my inspiration for like that you could be like mean to dudes and it's hysterical. So I'd love for us to be like mean to each other and like see who could outbitch each other and make each other laugh.
I could see a hangout session of just like a ping pong back and forth of spaghetti being thrown and just conversation being had.
And that's like, she's from New Jersey and I think that's how you show affection is being mean to each other.
Yeah.
Literally, you'll see two people from the East Coast having a conversation. It sounds like they're arguing when they're just like agreeing with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the tone. You're just like, I don't know. You're right about that. And I think this too.
Yeah. It's a very like out yesing each other or out supporting each other. It's very aggressive.
Aggressive overall. So yeah, I think that's my answer.
That's a great answer. Okay, the other question I ask every single guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or small phrases. So mine is college jogging front lawn. Yeah, it's a great time.
Just starting with college, I knew it was gonna be messy.
Yeah.
Mine is New York City bodega.
Oh no.
Risky fart.
Yeah.
Ruined leggings.
Oh, leggings. Oh no.
I know.
The only okay thing is that I feel like bodegas have seen so much crazy shit.
I was the classiest one in there.
Yeah. Like you were thriving actually.
I was Kim Kardashian in there.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I miss New York. No, I don't. Okay, let's get into some Twitter questions. Someone wants to know, how is Butter?
Butter, I actually have a necklace.
This is your cat?
Butter's my cat. Do you have a cat?
I have a dog.
You have a dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Butter's a great name for a cat.
I love food names or like real human names like Jennifer or something. For a pet.
Greg.
Yeah, Steven. But yeah, Butter's great. She's a cat who was actually found in a dumpster in the Bronx.
Oh no.
And my friend took her in to foster her, but my friend wasn't really a cat person and didn't know how to get her out from under the bed.
Oh.
They called me and I worked my cat whispering magic. And then like animals pick you. I really think they pick you. And she picked me and I had to tell my roommates, I don't give a fuck if you're allergic or whatever. She chose me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's Butter's story.
And so how long have you had her?
I've had her for a little over a year, and this trip has been hard without her. You know when you're like having the memes, like you're having fun with your friends and you realize your pet's home alone?
Yeah.
I've had like a couple of those.
Of those moments?
Yeah, you're like smiling and then it turns into a little like,
yeah, it all sets in.
Yeah.
Have you ventured into the world of like the pet cams?
Oh my gosh, I'm not there yet. Because actually, I think I'd get upset and miss them more.
Yeah,
and dogs, I think, need it a little more than cats.
I feel like cats would be a little bit more elusive, and that you wouldn't probably get your money's worth of even getting them on camera.
Yeah, like you don't even. I don't even have a cat sitter. I have someone who literally just goes in, changes her litter and puts food in because she's like, don't be here. There's a joke. People are like, your cat when you think you're gone, and she's like all sad. And it's like actually your cat, and she's just rolling around living her best fucking life.
That's why cats are fascinating to me because they're so self-sufficient. And I'm like, how do we even like consider them pets? It's crazy.
Well, there's this crazy bond where they say, I know a lot about cats. They say that, I actually have like 30 minutes of cat jokes, but they say that cats are like, they're not domesticated just since like the Egyptian times. They just always hung around humans. And there's this weird, like they need us and love us. It's hard to explain the connection, but they also kind of train us. Like we train dogs, they kind of train us. They're like, you're my human now, and this is what I need.
I feel like they have an understanding that they were seen as gods and goddesses, and that's how they are meant to be treated. And
there's these like, little tigers in your apartment.
Right, and they accept nothing less than like the optimum treatment.
Yeah, the best is like whenever you go to do work and you pull out anything, they're like, "This is where I'm gonna lie." Yeah, this is. And then they're so cute when they do it, and you're like, "Okay, I'll let you." Or if my cat falls asleep on my pillow, I'm like, "I guess I'm sleeping under the pillow now."
Yeah, I'll sleep on the couch, I guess.
I joke that I think that cats just have terrible PR. Like the dogs have like Marley and Me, Airba, the duck play basketball, the Puppy Bowl, and like cats have the Cat movie that lost millions of dollars in the box office.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And a reviewer said the movie ruined his life. So like that's what I'm dealing with right now. Yeah, I love cats.
Oh, Butter. Someone wants to know, have you ever given or been given a wedgie? I feel like this has been on the show.
I feel like I have a wedgie all the time. I wear granny panties because I hate wedgies that much.
Really?
Yeah, like full ass, not like little boy shorts. They're just like a constant wedgie, and I hate it.
Do you guys on the show have any like unspoken or spoken rules of boundaries that like we're going to make sure none of us do this on camera?
I think, well, there is the boundary of like, do you want 40 producers to see your tits or not?
Right.
So it's like a lot of us change in the closet or the bathroom.
Right.
Which is weird to, like, I'll go home and like do that in my own house. And I'm like, oh my God, the cameras aren't here. I'm so stupid.
Right, because you guys have cameras in your bedroom, like pointed at the beds.
You're always being seen and you're always being listened to.
Yeah.
I get it because you always have a mic on you. So I like go to take a poop and I'm like, is everyone listening to my poop? I'm like, yes, I had too much dairy today, you guys.
It's not a good day. Cut my mic.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you are thankful hasn't made the show, or anything that you're like, I didn't even know that had happened?
Well, I was doing interviews where they basically will say like, this happened, what's your opinion on it? And they were like, so you were FaceTiming Armand, you hung up, and then you flashed your boob at Luke.
Oh, yeah.
In the hot tub. And I was like, what?
Oh God, see, that would be my worst nightmare.
As I thought about it, it was like a blip. You know those memories that are like a blip? Yeah. I didn't think twice about it. I covered my nip. I was like, meh. And I was like, was it really right after Armand? And they were like, yep. And I was like, are you sure? And they were like, 100%.
They were like, roll the tape.
You have to talk about it. I do think, I like to jump in the pool during parties.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They treat us like little.
But you have a mic
kids,
on, right?
Exactly. So in summer camp, they treat us like at summer camp because season 1, I was like, fireball, and just ran and jumped in and with a mic on. The sound guy didn't talk to me for like 6 months. Was so mad. It's like $5,000 mics.
Oh shit. Yeah.
So now they're like, Hannah, and I'm like, you're hammered up. Right? I'm like, what? And they're like, if you want to go in the pool, you have to take your mic off. We'll take it up. And I go, I want to go in the pool. And they're like, okay, we'll take your mic off. And I'm like, okay. And then I like jump in the pool, and then my makeup is everywhere. And of course, that's when like someone important starts talking to me. Like Luke comes to the hot tub when I'm just peeing, sitting in my own pee in a hot tub, trying to enjoy myself. And he's like, hey, how do you feel about Armand? And I'm like cross-eyed with mascara everywhere. Like the beginning of the party, I put effort. And then by the end, you're like, who is that?
But that's, at least you know that they, for continuity, can't edit things in because they will slowly watch the deterioration.
Different person. Yeah, by the end of the party, you're like, is she okay?
Yeah, should we step in?
Paige was like crying to me at one of the parties.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with my makeup just all fucked up and my eyes are kind of crossed. You know when you're trying to focus, like you're really drunk and you can tell it's important?
Yeah.
And I had this like dumb drunk like kind of smile, like trying to be okay. And someone's like, why is Hannah smiling while Paige is crying? And I'm like, because I'm literally trying to be conscious.
I'm trying to stay standing the whole time. And I know that I have a secret in my head of I'm really distracted by my own drunkenness. If you guys were in here, you'd be smiling too right now. Someone to know, if you had one superpower but could only use it one time in your life, what would it be?
It would, oh my God, this is so
a tough one.
Yeah, this is like, I'm going to go too deep, but it would be like to clear up a trauma.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Like imagine if you could be like, oh, that time has like really affected me and I want to like.
If I could just take that out of my timeline.
I want to purify it. I want it to like be
Well,
good.
that's, I mean, because that's kind of why you started your podcast, right?
Yeah.
And it's to talk about like people's anxieties and fears and demons and that sort of thing. Has that been really helpful for you in the last year?
It's been so helpful. I started it because I was meeting all these people who I looked up to.
Yeah.
And was actually talking to them and realizing that they're so fucked up. Like these people, like it's, I used to think like, is LeBron James happier than everyone else?
Yeah, is that why he's so successful?
Yeah, I'm like, that's not really, like, is that fair that there's people like who are so successful and so much happier than everyone? Then I realized I didn't comprehend that like that stuff has nothing to do with happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to take people who we look up to and be like, what is your biggest physical insecurity? What keeps you up at night? And I realized we are all the same.
Yeah.
It's A, how you cope with it, or B, some people are so successful because they have literal bad issues, and it's the only thing that keeps them like motivated.
Let's talk about Bravo. Yeah, I mean, some people are
it's so enabling. It's a bad behavior.
Yeah,
but I have realized just how people are so similar, and I got to talk to people and have those close talks that I always want to ask someone, but it would be weird. But because it's the theme of my podcast, it's like cool.
That it's okay. It's a safe space to have that kind of conversation.
Imagine finding like the most beautiful woman in the world and you're like, what are you physically insecure about? That'd be so fucking weird. I had Ashley Hesseltine, who's on Girls Gotta Eat. She's hysterical. And she was like, are you going to pull out a marker and start circling my fat? And I was like, it just gets like really intense. But it's been a really cool experience.
That's awesome. Who's like a dream guest for you on that?
I'd like to have Amy Schumer.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
And Chelsea. I love some Chelsea. I think Amy like grew up in the same like New York City comedy area, and I know a lot about her. But I've met her like once or twice, but in a quick way.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. I'd love to listen to that. What's it like to be Bernie Sanders? So many people are asking this question.
To be Bernie.
Yeah,
it's the presidency has been going well. People say I look old, which is messed up.
Yeah. I keep saying stop focusing on the superficial parts. Someone wants to know favorite career memory.
Oh, okay. This is going to be wild, but my favorite career memory is getting fired from Betches.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's the best thing that happened to me ever.
Why'd you get fired? If you can
I think
talk
I got
about
fired because it was a place. I was like the 7th hire. I'd build the video team there. I loved my job.
I'm not super familiar with Betches.
It's like a media company. Okay. They've written books. They have a website. It started with a blog.
Yeah.
They have a very popular Instagram. They're creating videos, and it was so fun. But then like Summer House came. I realized I wanted my own podcast. That was my own voice. And they kind of were like, you're distracted. And I do think that like I was working really hard, but they kind of, I like hit a glass ceiling there, and I would have never quit because I really loved my job. But they were basically like, this isn't a good fit anymore. And then the second that door closed, I saw all these other doors opening where like I would have never been doing stand-up. I would have never met the people I've met. So
cool.
Being fired is fucking awesome.
It's sometimes a true blessing.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm like, get fired, people.
Yeah. It's like looking back and when you've been broken up with and hating it at the moment, but then realizing like that was very helpful.
You're like, whoever did that up there, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking to that, someone wants to know, do you often think about changing careers, or do you think the one you have now is set?
I think that nothing is ever set. And I think because you're evolving, the media is evolving, but changing careers is like, I was in sales and marketing and I fucking hated it.
Yeah. Oof.
And I quit because I was just like, I don't care how much money I'm making. I'd rather be happy. And I just thought, whenever I feel disconnected, I'm like, what did Hannah like doing as a kid? Like, who's your inner child?
Yeah.
And I was always silly, always creative. And I hope that I change and have I even joke like, I hope when I'm old I'm like painting on a farm with like tons of cats and animals. Like that's what I want. Really
still staying true to your child self.
Yeah, like I don't want to be traveling doing stand-up forever.
Yeah.
Like at some point I want to settle down on a farm.
That's great.
Thank you.
Those are great goals.
Just watercolor and sell it on whatever the new social media is.
Yeah, whatever the TikTok evolution becomes. I don't know. Stresses me out.
Yeah.
Well, what's next? Do you guys know if you do a season? Then
we don't know if we're renewed yet. But
okay.
I do think like people like you supporting is so huge because it's one of those shows. It's actually the only Bravo show the last 5 years that's been renewed because it's really difficult with like competing with Netflix and Amazon, HBO. Like Vanderpump a while ago didn't have that competition.
Right.
So we're really fighting to like be seen. But I do think the show took a while to get its
legs. Yeah.
Its legs.
It's also unique because it is so seasonally based.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just pick up a production team and shoot it whenever you want.
100%.
Like you really have to be over the course of the summer.
In my heart of hearts, I think they're definitely going to give us another season. I don't jinx it. But we'd start filming in the summer, obviously. And you're always welcome to Summer House Party if you want to make bad decisions.
I would love to drop by for 1 second, clock all the cameras in all the corners, and then call a quick Uber and Irish goodbye, everyone.
That sounds like me at most parties.
Yeah. What else do you have going on for people that do not know?
Oh yeah, so at HannahBerner.com, I have my stand-up.
Nice.
So I'm going to be in Texas. I'm going to be in New Jersey, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Florida.
Sweet. And they can find all the information on your socials.
On my social at Being Burns. And listen to me on Berning in Hell.
Yeah.
On my podcast. And I'd love to have you on open invitation ever.
I would love to.
Next time you're in the city, hit me up.
Will do. Okay, before you go, every guest that makes time for us gets a personalized fortune cookie.
Oh my God.
From us to you.
This is...
So you can
New York comedians would never. Oh my God!
No, it's in there. Don't worry. You didn't get.
I thought I got an empty egg. I was like, does this mean I die?
We just love to neg everyone before they leave, or leave them feeling so unwanted.
Oh my God, this is so good. If you follow the ways of Marie Kondo, we believe you could easily fit in a BDSM dungeon in New York City apartment. Believe in yourselves, just fold more.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing.
I feel like we try to help.
That was hysterical.
We're here to help. Thank you for making time and being here. This was so fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to watch the rest of the season. Everyone out there, go listen to the podcast. Go check you out live wherever they can. Yeah. Go on the socials, see all of it. And I can't wait to see how many more mullets get worn throughout the rest of the season. That seems like a viable product that could be made.
Did you see I put it in my bathing suit?
Yes. Yeah.
And then he wore it after he didn't know. It was so funny.
I don't
know how that didn't make the cut, but whatever.
We'll see you guys next time on Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer Melissa D. Montz, edited by Shireen Lani Yunus, post-production sound by Chris Henry, and an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.